Welcome once again to our channel through failure and success. And I'm just super excited, super happy to be here with you guys. It's I've been out, the last couple of days actually. We've been out, and we're back. We're finally back, and we're just tremendously blessed that my wife, my family, and I. I took my wife out, my kids out, for a little time to get away. Okay, time to get away. And so we had a phenomenal experiences. And honestly, quite frankly, that's what life is all about. I'm not encouraging you to live a life that maybe you're not you know that it doesn't exist in your mind, right? Of course, we all want the best that we can have for ourselves, but for me personally, it's just a privilege, such an honor that I get to have my family out with me as I'm on and about, doing my business, doing whatever I gotta do, to provide for my family, whatever I gotta do to take care of them. And so honestly, that's what life is all about, just like work and life integration. But again, it isn't just about me. It's just about anything and everything that we can possibly do to make our families better. And so with that being said, we're back. My kids had an amazing time. I hope that you all had an amazing time as we are fastly approaching 4th of July weekend. And I gotta tell you, man, 4th of July weekend is going to be a phenomenal week. It's a perfect time, to celebrate and to remember, that this country was built, and what the principles and values of this country, what they were built on. And honestly, that's why I came and talked to you about, because today I want to go over everything that happened over the debate that we had a couple of days ago, with former president and the current president. And so there's a couple of videos, there's a couple conversations that their arguments, they kept going back and forth with each other. And there's a lot of things that I got from that. And I don't know what you thought, but I mean, it's very obvious, right? That our current president right now, there's a level of incapacity that the man, and by the way, I respect him. He's got to a presidency, for a reason. He's been politics, what have you. I know that some people say we don't talk about politics and we don't talk about religion. I tell them, no, we need to talk more about those things, because it's like when we one thing that I don't talk about, in front of my kids is, just, how things, maybe, we can afford things, or, how things expensive are, right? Because, we're putting that limiting belief, that we're inserting that into our kids. So I don't talk to my kids about that, but I do talk to them about how money works. I do talk to them about, the fact that, one day they're going to be bringing value. And so therefore, they're going to be earning a living, right? What they're going to be putting their money as well, when it comes to investments. And so I know sometimes, families, they say, well, don't talk to your children about money. No, you got to talk to your kids about children, because otherwise you're not leaving them a blueprint for them to follow. And so with that, with politics, right? And religion, we gotta talk more of that. Whatever your religion is, whatever you believe in, it's gotta be respected. I am the kind of a man that I will respect that. I'm a Christian, but I have friends, I have colleagues that are atheists, that are Muslims, that are Catholics. I grew up being Catholic. I don't have anything against any other religion. If you know about me, I come from the military background where I served 5 years in the United States Marine Corps, where I was numb to the color, religion, background of anything. We only saw one color, that was the green color. And that was my brothers and sisters that were right next to me and behind me that had a rifle. We had each other's back, and we had to protect each other's lives when we went out to war, to Afghanistan and Iraq. But why am I saying that? I'm saying that only because we got to talk to our children about about these things, right? As long as it's respected. And so with that, we saw the debate a couple of days ago. And the man, obviously, President Biden, we know that this individual has a level of maybe not of not being able to run the country, like it has to, like it can be. And so for me, again, it's kind of sad at the same time, that we have an 81-year-old. He's the oldest president that we have ever had in the history of this country. And so it's kind of sad, to see that. But at the same time, a level of admiration, a level of respect that I have to have for the man. And so we saw some. level of not be able to communicate. And so this is the clip that I want to show you. I'm going to show you to you in a little bit on how the men basically expose themselves. And so now the question is, will the Democratic Party, are they gonna go out there and find a replacement for this president? Because we know that he's incapable of running the country for 4 more years. 4 more years. And as you know, the United States is the greatest country in the world. At least that's what I believe. Again, I served, and this country has given me so much that I will always be grateful for that. And so I am grateful to this country. I am super, super grateful to this country. And but it is the greatest job. It is probably the toughest job in the world to run this country. And so when you have an 81-year-old president who has a lot of memory problems and speech problems, and maybe their cognitive level is not where it needs to be, it makes you wonder. No wonder why we are at where we at the last 4 years of our country. Where things just cost more. Things are just more expensive. And then on the other side, you have a president, in Donald Trump, where you hate him or love him, support him or don't support him. I'm not here to tell you who to support. I'm not here to tell you, who to follow. I'm just here to tell you that, the other man is 70, 77, 78 years old. And then also is getting to that level of, man, it's he's going to be 81, 82 years old by the time the man finishes his presidency. And so it makes you think, yes, we do need new blood. We do need new blood in this country. We absolutely need it. And so my only thing to that is that, for those folks that like to complain, well, Donald Trump is this and then Donald Trump that, he didn't do this and he didn't do that. Also Biden this and Biden that. My question to everybody is always, well, why don't you go out there and be a president? I said that actually in one of the comments here on YouTube. I said, well, if it was that easy, why don't you go do it? Why don't you go do something about it? And then the response that I got from the men was like, well, it's not that easy. And I'm like, exactly. That's my whole point of why I asked you that. I said, why don't you go do it yourself? Because you're here criticizing about, this and that. And so again, I'm not here to support either side. I'm just here to tell you that there's a level of concern when it comes to the Democratic Party of, whether they're going to have President Biden run again. So I want to show you this clip without further ado, so that you can see what I'm talking about exactly. What happened a couple of days ago. So take a look at this.
President Biden, a record number of migrants have illegally crossed the southern border on your watch. Overwhelming border states and overburdening cities such as New York and Chicago, and in some cases causing real safety and security concerns. Given that, why should voters trust you to solve this crisis?
Because we worked very hard to get a bipartisan agreement that not only changed all of that, it made sure that we are in a situation where,
again, the question here is being asked is, why should we trust President Biden again, for 4 more years after the disaster that we've been seeing down at the south of the border of this country. We've been seeing illegal immigrants, just pouring into our country. I come from an illegal family. They came into this country legally. They came into this country, but when you think about it, I mean, this country was built in, everybody was immigrant. That's the beauty of this country, right? But when you have a border that is out of control, just like President Biden has it right now, that is the question that is being asked to him: is why should we trust you? With all the mess that you have going on at the south of the border.
You had no circumstance where they could come across the border with the number of border police there are now. We significantly increased the number of asylum officers. Significantly, by the way, the Border Patrol endorsed my position. In addition to that, we found ourselves in a situation where when he was president, he was separating babies from their mothers, putting them in cages, making sure the families were separated. That's not the right way to go. What I've done since I've changed the law, what's happened? I've changed it in a way that now you're in a situation where there are 40% fewer people coming across the border illegally. That's better than when he left office.
So again, 40% people that are coming in, 40% fewer people coming into the border. This is what he's saying. But I mean, if you take a look at everything that is going on, that is definitely now 40% less than when, like he's about to say, that when President Trump left, presidency. Again, I'm not here to take sides. I'm just here to take the facts, and the facts are the facts, and that's what I'm hearing.
Office, and I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we can do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look,
So again, he's right. He doesn't know what he's saying at the end of the sentence. If you take a look at this man, just the way that he carries himself, the way he's perceiving himself, the way he looks at the cognitive level, it's a big concern. It's a big concern into you know what's been going on the last 4 years. And so with that, can this president run for 4 more years, or will there be another candidate that the Democratic Party is going to put into presidency so that they can run? But if you take a listen to Donald Trump, you can see the level of different ways that they both speak with each other. One is more reason, the other one is pretty much out of reason.
we had the safest border in the history of our country. The border, all he had to do was leave it. All he had to do was leave it. He decided to open up our border, open up our country to people that are from prisons, people that are from mental institutions, insane asylum, terrorists. We have the largest number of terrorists coming into our country right now, all terrorists all over the world, not just in South America, all over the world. They come from the Middle East, everywhere, all over the world, they're pouring in. And this guy just left it open. And he didn't need legislation because
It's absolutely true. President Biden, he needed to leave a lot of policies, that President Trump already had in place, because the border was already, I don't want to say under control, but it was definitely in control, right? You still have illegal immigrants. I don't think that there's ever going to be a way. I could be wrong from ever stopping that, because there's always going to be somebody that is going to do something illegal, to get those folks inside of the country. But there was a lot of laws, policies that were definitely changed while this president was in charge. And man, it's definitely a huge concern, at least for me as a citizen of this country, is, can this president rerun once again as a president of the United States? And the question is probably not. Probably not. And so it's going to be really interesting to see what's going to happen this next couple of months, as we are, going to be heading into, the coming up, September, and then also in October, November, when we have, elections. And, as it is, the country right now, we're not in the greatest position that we have ever been. Actually, let me take that back. We're not in a great position right now, when it comes to financially, when it comes to politics, and the way the country is being looked at right now worldwide. There's a lot of problems that are going on right now that it's ought to be a concern for most folks. And for me, it gets me thinking. Yes, maybe Donald Trump will fix some things, here and there. But if you take a look at the precedent, at the country of El Salvador, right? You have, a 39, a 38-year-old president. And so truly, honestly, that is what we need. That is what we need as a country. We need somebody young that can relate to you and I. My audience here mostly is in their 30s, late 20s. That is typically my audience. And, we need somebody that can relate to us. Somebody that can understand, the millennials, they can understand, the late generations of the Gen Zs, and they can relate to us, because believe me, a lot of things have changed. And so when you have two baby boomers, one 81 and the other one 78 years old, 77 years old, you're talking about, two really, really, older presidents, running this country. And so who knows? Donald Trump looks a lot more reason than obviously President Biden. But we need young blood. We need young blood to step up and to say, you know what, I'm going to do something about this. I'm going to do something about the country, because I don't like it. I don't like the way my country is heading in the direction that it's heading right now. I just don't like it. And so the thing is that, as the country and as society continues to evolve, we're gonna need that. We're gonna need that, for more men and women to rise up, But my question to you is what do you think? What do you think? Of how the country is moving, because if if this is how we're expected to be respected at a worldwide level. I don't believe that we stand a chance. And then there's a book that is called how the Mighty Fall. How the Mighty Fall talks about just different nations, different empires that came in left, right? At one point, you had the Roman Empire being the highest, the most dominant force that had ever existed. Nobody thought it was ever gonna collapse, but it did. And so, what's there to say that we're not in the position in the future where eventually the country is gonna fall as the most dominant country, the most dominant force in the world? We have the technology, we have the military, and so forth, but does that really buy us the security? And especially when we have leadership like this, that want to run again for 4 more years. I just don't believe that that is the way to go. If you were to ask me, which way are we better off, I'll tell you this. I would prefer somebody else, to come in and run the country. Unfortunately, these are the two candidates that we have. Who has the better chance of running this country right now as we speak? Well, it's got to be Donald Trump. Again, I'm not choosing sides in the sense of, I'm a Trump supporter, and I'm a Republican. I'm not. I'll go to whatever the truth is. And so, that is my thing. I'll go to where that is. But with that said, what do you think? Where do you think is this country going to be heading if President Biden, runs once again, as president, and he becomes the president? Because I'm going to search it up right now, actually. How old is Joe Biden? And you will see right now. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen so that way you and I can look at this together. But if you can see here, Joe Biden right now is 81 years old. Okay, 81 years old. And this is Joseph Robinette Biden Jr. is an American politician. He's the 40 he's the 46th president of the United States. He was born in 1942. You know what happened in 1942? We had baby boomers being born. We had the World War II going on, and so he's part of the baby booming generation. And actually, he might not be a baby. I think he's a baby boomer. But he's 42 years old. And let's see how old is President Trump, because there's a big difference. So Donald Trump is an American politician, media personality. By the way, President Donald Trump was never a politician until he got into politics. So when people tell me, hey, you're supportive of Donald Trump, like F you, whatever, how dare you? My thing is like, listen, this man was a media personality, a businessman who is a multi billionaire. Okay. He set out a goal about 30, 40 years ago that he was going to be the president one day. That is an audacious goal. So that is what I respect, what I admire is the level of clarity, the level of staying committed, and going after a goal, because this channel is all about that. Is about, having the level of clarity and being committed to staying out to a goal. And so, that's what I respect about this man. He's 78 years old. He was born in New York, but that's what's got to be respected. It's the fact that this man set out a goal 30 years ago that he was going to run for president, and he actually did it. I mean, how many people do you know that actually, say, "Hey, I'm going to become president," and they never follow through? So that is one thing that I personally admire the most. And so for me, it's what I admire from this man. But again, let's take a look at one more clip so that you guys can hear and can see how President Biden is actually not able to be there, not to quite be there a whole lot.
It by far the highest, and now it's down in less than half because he's done all these great things that
Now
we
look at
did.
his
And I think he
at
did it
his
just because I
his face,
approved
his
it, which
demeanor,
is
the
crazy.
way he is.
But he has killed
To me,
so
he's
many
just
people at our border by
Thank you,
allowing
President Trump.
all of these people
he's
to
just
come
lost.
in. And
President
it's a very
Biden,
sad day in America.
President Biden, you have the mic.
Every single thing he said is a lie. Every single one.
So,
For example, veterans are a hell of a lot better off since I passed the PACT Act. 1 million of them now have insurance and their families have it. Their families have it because what happened, whether it was Agent Orange or burn pits, they're all being covered now.
again, that is one of my biggest takeaways, and I think that the Democratic Party was exposed. They were exposed. There's a lot of from what I'm reading, what I'm hearing, based on what I read on Wall Street Journal. That's the channel, that's the website that I prefer to read my news. I really don't follow CNN or Fox News. Me personally, I get my news from Bloomberg and Wall Street Journal because for me it's very in the middle, it's very center. And so again, for me, I like to pull out the facts, and the facts are the facts, and I'll follow the facts, and I'll follow to whatever it's not trying to you know feed me some chocolate with their finger and saying, hey, lick this, so that you don't see what we're doing behind curtains. And so the Democratic Party was exposed. That's the truth. That's the reality. So my question is now, who may they have as a potential, uh, g- you know, person to run? So for me, it's probably going to be Governor Newsom. I think for me, I'm actually pulling out his profile right now so that you and I can see it. Gavin Newsom. And because I think that the Democratic Party, they really are left without somebody. I mean, President Biden. I don't think that he's going to be able to run. So Gavin Newsom, 56 years old. He's an American politician and a businessman, serving since 2009 as the 40th governor of the state of California. Born in San Francisco, 6'3". What is his wealth right now? Actually, I'm curious about that. I don't know if they'll have that. But how popular is Governor Newsom? That's slightly up from October, when 45% of voters approved Newsom's performance and 49% disapproved. April 2021 was the last time more than half of voters approved the governor's leadership. At the time, 52% of survey voters favor his performance, while 43% disapproved. I guess I was one of the 43% that disapproved because I just don't think that there was a lot of there was definitely a lot of policies in place that caused some companies to leave California during the pandemic. I mean, just like anything else, right? I think that there's we can all do better. We have all areas that we got to improve, and so politicians, governors, nobody's perfect. We're all humans. We're all gonna make mistakes. That's the reality. That's the truth. We're all gonna make mistakes, and so Gavin Newsom is not is it's not it's not an exception. So I believe that he also has a level of you know that he a level of that he needs to improve as well. And so with that, I mean, I don't know what you thought is about this debate that we saw just a few days ago. I personally think that Biden was just quite frankly not all there, and I think that it's a level of concern. It's definitely a level of concern for most Americans. It's level of concern for me because I don't want my country to be run like that again for the next 4 years, the way we have been. And so it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see what will happen, what is going to happen over the next couple of months. Well, they replace President Biden as a for him to rerun as president, or will they replace him with somebody else? For me, I believe that they will replace him, and I believe that the person that they will replace him with will be Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. I'm not in favor of him, but that's what I believe. Who will eventually the Democratic Party. The way I see the Democratic Party right now is that you know it's kind of like when you see Wall Street, right? You see those investor guys. You see. I don't know if you ever seen the Wall Street, the Wolf of Wall Street, right? Where everybody's like making phone calls left and right. Like, hey, call that person up, right? That's kind of how I see the Democratic Party right now, and with everything that happened. Making phone calls. Trying to figure out what the strategy is going to be, what is going to be their next move. I truly believe that there's going to be a change into who they're going to have as a runner up to be the president of the United States, to be the contender with President Trump this coming October, because I truly don't believe the way we saw Biden speak and perform, and then even the way you see him with the face, and just you know he's 81 years old. He's 81 years old. What do we expect at this moment? I got to give him, props, for being the president at this such an older age. And so, for me it's quite remarkable, but I think it's time to move on. And so that's the way I see the Democratic Party right now, looking to making a replacement for him. And so, with that being said, what do you think? Who do you think that they will replace President Biden with? Or will they replace him at all? I truly believe they will. I think that they need a stronger candidate that can go against Donald Trump. I personally, when the debate was coming up, for the Republicans, I wanted Vivek. I don't know how to say his first name, but Vivek. That's who I wanted for me to be the next president, right? So I'm gonna pull out Vivek Ramaswamy Vivek. I think is his name. Here, I'm gonna share my screen so that you can see who I'm talking about. If you don't know who I'm speaking of, but so his name is Vivek Ramaswamy. Okay, Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek Ramaswamy began his 2024 presidential campaign on 2023. Who is Vivek Ramas? Here we go. Okay, so this is Vivek Ramaswamy. He's from Cincinnati, Ohio. He is actually, I think he is 38 years old. There you go, 38 years old. Okay. Ramaswamy was born in Cincinnati to an Indian immigrant parents. Again, another immigrant. Like I said, this is what our country is built on. Ramaswamy sees the United States in the middle of a national identity crisis. Okay, precipitated by what he calls new cellular religions like COVIDism, climatism, and gender ideology. He's also a critic of environmental, social, and corporate governance initiatives. In January 24, Forbes estimated Ramaswamy's net worth to be $960 million. His wealth comes from biotech and financial businesses. So there you go. Close to being a billionaire. Okay, $960 million. That's a lot of money. Okay, this guy doesn't need to make money. So when I see folks like this, 38 years old, a father of children, you know, coming from immigrant parents, for me, that's respect. That's who I want my country to be ran by. He comes from business. He's a businessman. Politics. He grew up being a businessman, and he's absolutely right. We're facing right now a time in a generation where secular religions, right? Who is COVID-19, gender ideology. I mean, we have an identity crisis. I mean, he couldn't have put it any more better than he did here. And so he's absolutely right. We have an identity crisis right now with our country. And so, which is why I believe that we need somebody that can step up, for our country, take us to where we need to be taken at. And that for me, to me, that was he was a perfect candidate, to run this country. Unfortunately, I think that for the next term, he needs to run again. He's going to have a lot of supporters. I will be one of his big supporters as well. But I truly believe that he's got it all. He's got the package. To be a candidate of who the next president of this country, the greatest country in the world, the United States of America. A lot of folks don't believe that we still are. We still are the greatest country in the world. And so, you know, I think that somebody like him, is actually an ideal candidate, to run our country. But anyways, once again, who do you think, it's gonna is Biden going to be the next president? Is he going to be replaced by another candidate? Are they going to replace him with Gavin Newsom? Do you think that Donald Trump is the next president? Do you even like Donald Trump? Do you like him as a businessman and you hate him as a politician? Do you like him as a politician and you hate him as a businessman? Or do you hate him just in general? Do you love him just in general? You know what? I don't like either or, but I respect the fact that he wants to make this country great again, which is what I really what I stand for, is somebody that wants to make this country great again. Again, Donald Trump is probably worth about 20-30 billion dollars, if I'm not mistaken. He doesn't need the money. He's not doing it for the money. I believe that he's doing it for a bigger cause than that. And so, with that being said, who do you think? What are your thoughts? Please leave them in the comment below. With that being said, I wanted to just go over, just these crazy and very interesting debate that we had a couple days ago. And so, if you haven't watched it, go ahead and take a look at that at the debate. You're gonna be very, very, very entertained. But with that being said, thank you guys for joining us today. Thank you guys for watching. The name of this channel is Through Failure and Success, and I come to you because I want to provide. Today was a topic of what's just the realities of what's going on today. But our channel is based on just fundamentals of such as principles, values, things that I personally have experienced myself, that have made me fail, things that I jumped the gun too fast on certain things. And so I just want to bring you value in the hopes that I can find my right audience, right? Because I have a lot of you here, so that I can bring you value and make you better, because there's a lot of veterans transitioning out of the military as well that are probably lost. I was once lost again. And so I find passion. I find passion in that. So if you know anybody that maybe is in the military that needs a little bit of encouragement, maybe a little bit of wisdom, a little bit of path and guidance into, just becoming a better person in life, this is the channel for them. This is that you don't have to be a former military member. You could just be anybody that stands for the right principles and values and to making this country great again. Because I believe that we can all do it collectively, and so that is the purpose of this channel. But with that being said, thank you guys for watching. I do hope that you enjoyed this video. Do hope that you got a little bit of entertainment with the with what I had to show you. So anyways, with that being said, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please go ahead and do so, and we will see you guys on the very next video. Take care, everybody. We'll see you soon. Okay.